What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to week 2, episode 2 of the Jordan McCabe podcast. I no longer have a mustache. Fortnite's in a black hole. But we did just interview Mikey Williams. So you're going to hear a little bit more of that later. So we got a really good show coming your way. And appreciate you guys returning and not bailing after the episode 1. You guys are going to see people walking behind me and doing all sorts of stuff. Told you it's going to be casual. I'm going to eat this peanut butter pie. So week in review for me, I had a pretty eventful week considering we've been practicing for 3 hours a day for the past 3 weeks. So those first 3 weeks, if you're an athlete, you know that preseason into the early season workouts and practices are generally the toughest things to get through. So that's what we're in right now. We just finished up there and ended our week last week with our blue gold debut game, which is just inter squad scrimmage. Mozzie got a black eye. My team lost, but overall everybody's happy and we're getting to where we need to be. Approaching next week, we have our first closed scrimmage with Penn State. And then we're rolling. We got Akron, our first official regular season game, and it'll just take off from there, which will then consist of me taking all this stuff that we have on this table on the road and doing podcasts there, recording wherever we can and trying to keep you guys as entertained as possible. Other than that, yeah, I shaved my mustache off because my mother hated it. My lady hated it. So it came off and that was just what it was. It'd be a preseason rallying mustache. Mozzie won't be doing it with me anymore since he is a senior and he's all done. But hopefully we will be able to continue that with other people, such as Sean McNeil. But he's got a girlfriend who doesn't like his mustache either. Generally is the number one. It's actually a proven fact that the number one roadblock in all mustache growing is girlfriends. Number 2 is mothers. So other than that, yeah, blue gold game. That's about it. But yeah, anyways, so we just interviewed Mikey Williams. If you guys don't know who that is, kid's got 1 million followers, literally. That's not a figure of speech. He just hit 1 million on Instagram. Super athletic, 15-year-old kid from California. You say San Diego? Was that right? So he's from San Diego, California. Ultra athletic. I mean, just a mutant. I don't know where these kids come from or what they eat or drink or what they do, but my parents weren't into that, obviously. But no, this kid is unreal. If you guys don't know who that is, which I'm sure most of you do, if not, go check him out. He's got a lot of cool stuff on his Instagram stuff, and he's continuing to do what we're all trying to do, and that's build a brand. And we talked briefly about that and just how he kind of blew up and took off with Overtime and other, media outlets. But on the other, side of everything is he's obviously a super, athlete, but he's a 15-year-old kid. So just talking to him and we kind of connected with, as I was saying before, is our lives are pretty boring. I think that might be with anybody who's, found success in somewhere or another. They're not boring in a sense of they don't do anything, but they just do the same thing over and over and over and over again. I was actually listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with Jocko, who we talked about last week on my podcast, and they were talking about being a SEAL and just how your training regimen, once you're through your basic training and then you get through buds and all this stuff, that's just the requirement to make sure you're not soft, I guess. I mean, these dudes do some of the craziest things during those times, but even he was saying, I get up, I do the same thing over and over. And for me, that was, telling, because Jocko takes a picture of his watch at 4:30 a.m. every morning, Monday through Sunday. The Saturday, Sunday thing for me as a 21-year-old college kid hasn't completely carried over. Sticking with the Monday through Friday, 5:50 a.m. wake up and 6:30 post going into the gym. So we'll stick with that, and hopefully that continues to grow as well. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's our week in review. Actually, See, I wanted my weekend review to be more about not just me, but just in general.
Life stuff.
That's life stuff, sports stuff. Oh, Taco Fall signs a two-way. Taco Fall is a big overtime guy, and they covered a lot of his journey. So he signs a two-way with the Celtics. So he'd be, splitting time in the G League, which I think if you guys are interested, I'd love to hear your comments about it. But we have a guy who, Alex Ruoff, for those of you that are from West Virginia, know him because he played here at WVU. He's a 12-year veteran playing overseas. He's played professional basketball for, the majority of his adult life. So I've sat down and talked with him, just before, after workouts. We've spent, a considerable amount of time when he's in his off season. Getting him on here to talk about that kind of thing, overseas basketball, is super intriguing because there's just this like flood. Because every year, and looking at my team right now, all these guys on my team at WVU are talented enough to be professional basketball players. It's not even a question. Now there's separating factors. There's different things that guys do better than others. But, at the overseas level, there's so much going on over there that I think people might not even realize. Just from the different tiers. I mean, you can get guys playing for almost nothing over there, signing contracts that are, people in America would never even look at. Then there's guys signing multi-million-dollar contracts in China and Australia, Spain, all over Europe for sure. But yeah, I would like to get him on and just sit down and talk about everything that he's seen. Because over 14 years or whatever he's at, 12, 14 years of playing professionally over there. I know he's got some stories. That's kind of our goal here, is to bring people on that have unique experiences. Now, it's tough when you're 15 to have a ton of unique experiences, but obviously Mikey has a lot of things that we didn't really go through growing up, because he's sitting right now in a great spot in terms of brand building, brand awareness, and, personal branding. So just to talk to him and stuff was great. And with that being said, Alex is, if you guys don't, hold on, let me introduce Alex, because this is crap that he hasn't been introduced at this point in the show. We're 2 episodes in, and I'm not even talking about the guy who makes this thing run. Alex King is a good friend of mine here from West Virginia, who's now a, go ahead. Oh, no. He's got a mic back there too. I suck at asking him questions. Go ahead. Introduce yourself, Alex.
I am I work as a photographer and videographer for WVU in general, but I'm a student here. I graduated undergrad in the spring of this year. Yeah, I probably should remember that. What else? Now I'm in grad school, so doing grad school for marketing, but the majority of the time I just shoot photos and have fun.
Yeah, he's extremely talented. Yeah, and now he's on it's crazy how that stuff all comes full circle. I met Alex a while ago, right when I got here, because he was taking pictures for the university, and I wanted to post them, and now we're sitting here months later, and he's, producing a podcast for me. So that's what he does. That's his area of expertise. I know nothing about all this stuff that's going on in front of me. I see a soundboard and a computer and 2 cameras that, if you gave me $1 million to work all of them, I would be a broke, very, very broke person. So that's why we have Alex here. We're happy to have him. We love him to death. Now that we've got completely sidetracked, and that's what you're here to see, we'll give you the next notch in the podcast, which would be introducing I don't know what to call it. It's not an interview, because I'm not a reporter. I don't want to be. That's not my goal here. I just want to kind of, shoot the bleep with cool people, and Mikey Williams is a really cool person. So without further ado, here is Mikey Williams from San Diego, California. All right, Mr. 1 million. How you doing, Mikey?
Good, bro.
You good? All right. Well, thank you for joining us on our show here. This is episode 2 of the Jordan McCabe podcast, and you are the first ever guest that we have, I don't want to – you know who Tom is from Overtime?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like Tom very much either. So we had him. We're not going to count him as really a guest. You're our first ever guest, man. You're it, all right? You nervous?
Nah, bro.
You don't get nervous much at all, do you?
Nah,
I don't think so. You got that aura. I love it. But seriously, congrats. I called you Mr. 1 million. Just hit 1 million on Instagram.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. That do anything for you? You seeing 1 million or not really?
I mean, this not really right now. It hasn't really hit.
You're 15 right now with 1 million Instagram followers.
Yeah, bro.
Why you got 1 million Instagram followers? Tell me why you think it is. You got bounce, you can hoop, everything.
Nice with it, bro.
Huh?
I'm nice with it. I can hoop.
You're nice with it, huh? But see, there's a lot of nice hoopers out there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You got something else, like, and that's what I think is so intriguing is that your class, you got a bunch of dudes. So you're 15 now. How old's Bronny?
Bronny's 15 also.
So he's in your grade?
Yeah.
What about Zaire? I don't know. He's older, right?
He's 7. I think he's 17.
He's a little bit older, but all you guys got like something else other than just being able to hoop or being nice with it, right? I mean, you got sort of a persona swag to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where'd that come from? Talk to me about that. Where did Mikey Williams start? Because you got 1 million, but where did you start?
Everybody was noticing me at first because of my bounce, and then people would just catch me on the circuit and be like, "Oh, that's that kid with bounce." And they didn't know I had game. They was like, "Oh, he got game too. Like he's not just like a dunker." And then as my game grew, my bounce kind of grew. So there'll just be times I'm like, "Yo, let me go viral real quick and just do something."
When was the first time that you remember going viral? You remember that moment?
I think the first time I played Bronny, that kind of really got my name out there. And then first time I did the East Bay, and I got me viral too.
I think you did that when you were like 14, right? First time you did an East Bay?
I think it was 13.
You did an East Bay when you were 13 years old?
It was in 7th grade, yeah.
What was the first time you dunked? 6?
First time I dunked, it's weird because first time I dunked, it was 5th grade. Like school had just ended, like a couple of weeks after school. I was in North Carolina for this tournament, and I had dunked, and I didn't dunk again for like a couple months, and then I got an in game, and then I just started dunking everything.
You dunked the first time in 5th grade.
Yeah.
There's 5th graders who don't know how to spell their name. You're jumping up 10 foot and putting it down. That's crazy. No, seriously, that's nuts. So you talked a little bit about it. You had to kind of battle a little bit of, is he just a jumper? Is he just a dunker? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, so they just figured you were one-dimensional, right?
Yeah. I still get it, but
you still get that?
I feel like they be trolling, but some people still be like, "Oh, he got more bounce than he got game and this and that." But I mean, you watch me play, and you can tell like you game recognize game. So watch someone and be like, "Oh, he got game."
Right.
Yeah.
I got you. So where are you from exactly for people who don't know?
I'm from Southeast San Diego.
Got you. I see you play being from that California, you play with Compton Magic. Is that who you play AAU for? You claim one AAU team or what?
I just won Compton Magic.
Okay. Because there's a lot of stuff now. You see guys jumping back and forth, playing for a bunch of different AAU teams, but you're a Compton Magic guy right now?
Yeah, Compton Magic.
Good. That's good to hear. So you play with Bronny's in LA. How far is LA from you? I'm not great with geography at all.
It's about 2.5 hours.
2.5? Are you and him close? You and Bronny?
Yeah, we're close.
Who's your closest friend on the circuit? Because forget social media, they tend to pair you up, and because Big Ja, you guys are right. You play with him or no?
Yeah, I did play with him. Yeah.
But I just want to hear who's your boy. Let me hear.
My closest friend, probably Bryce Griggs.
Got you. Okay, so I probably shouldn't have put you on the spot. Everybody's gonna be like, "Well, what the hell you thought? I thought we were best friends." But So you're around Bronny a lot.
Yeah.
Bronny's got a dad that some people know. Couple people know who he is. You get starstruck. You ever been around him long enough to be starstruck, or you just calm, cool, and collected like you are right now?
I'm not really the type of person to really get starstruck. First time I met him like in 6th grade, I was like, dang, I just met LeBron. I started playing with him the summer after that, so I'm always around him. So we just kind of look at each other like family. Like that's so.
I got you. You ever try to pick his brain?
Nah, I don't really, I don't really be having a lot of conversation with him. I was like slide up on a story or something or whatever. We'll have
I got you.
Conversation, but that's really it. I just leave him alone. You got what's
try to treat him like a normal person.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking him or nothing, but I'm just like.
No, that's not knocking him at all. That's just you being comfortable around somebody that other people they'd freak out and get starstruck by. I think that's cool. But so I mean, who do you model your game after? I would imagine like we're not all going to be LeBron. I don't know how tall exactly you are going to be, but I mean, LeBron's a tough dude to just model a game after. He's just he's a freak. But who do you look at? Who do you try to model your game after? Talk to me about all that stuff.
I don't really try to model my game after anybody. I just want to have the type of game where it's like, a type of game that you can't really compare to. But I say I got some game in me because I can create shots easy, and I had crazy shots, and then I want to have like some Westbrook in me because his motor. He's really aggressive and just I want to be able to shoot the ball like Steph. So I mean that's Steph Curry, but you know what I mean.
No, I completely know. I mean, from a perspective of, I mean, you're talking to somebody who is as obsessed with this game that I think you are. Trying to build things. You don't just pull from one player. You don't want to be somebody who is he's exactly like this player, that player. You're trying to pull from. I want to be the best in every single area that I possibly can be, which is what I just got from that, which is great. Who's the best player you ever played against?
It's hard. That's hard. I played against a lot. I'd say Jaden Bradley. He's real tough. And what's I played against? I played against so much, but that's the only one I can really think of to give me problems.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So he's a dog, both ends, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's good. That's good. Here, this last part, I really don't want this to start feeling like I'm sitting here interviewing you because that's never fun. This is a podcast. I want to shoot back and forth with you. Walk me through, a day in the life with Mikey Williams. I know you're filming it right now, but there's plenty of kids out there because everybody asks you the same question. I'm sure younger kids come up to you and ask, how do I get to my goals? What do I have to do? How did you get to where you're at right now? What does your daily life look like? What are you doing workout-wise? Talk to me. Give me as much as you can.
It's funny because it's kind of simple. I got school, so right after school, we get in the weight room, go to track or whatever, and then we get in the gym for like 2 hours, and then after we work out, or after our team practice is done, I work out for like an hour and a half. So just constantly, doing anything, anything helps. Like that's a lot of kids ask me, like, "Oh, what do you do to be so good? What do you do to get your bounce?" Anything, like anything really helps. Like work is work. So you gonna get work regardless. It don't gotta be a specific thing you have to work on in order to get better. Anything helps.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. A lot of kids and a lot of people are looking for this like magic answer from somebody about how to get to where they want to go. But, you and I both know there's only one route to that, and that's kind of consistent. You kind of said it's simple. I always tell people my life's boring as hell. I get up, I work out, I go to school, I work out again, I go to bed, and I wake up and do it all over again, right? Yeah, there's different things, and you said something that I liked is everything, you're not going to find something out there that's going to hurt. Anything's going to help, whether it's balance or skill development, whatever it is. Just go out and do something. Stop asking questions and wanting to know the perfect, formula for it. Just outwork people. Do you have? With that being said, though, you got a trainer out there. Who do you train with? You train with by yourself. What do you do?
I don't really have a trainer I train with all the time. I try to train my guy Phil when he's in town, but he trains a lot of dudes in the league and stuff, so he's out of town a lot. But other than that, I just work out with my high school coach and my dad when I can. But yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, what are you focusing on right now? What's the biggest thing? We talked about you got bounce, but and then you want to kind of be a well-rounded player, pull things from all these different players. Anything specifically you're working on right now to kind of close a gap?
Not really specifically, but I'm always working on my shot. You always got to work on your shot. So I say I work on my shot more than anything else.
How many shots do you think you get up a day? Because I've heard everybody say there's a simple formula to becoming a great shooter, and it's shoot every single day. It's not like riding a bike.
Probably like 400 to 500.
400 to 500 a day. That seems to be kind of consistent, no matter who you kind of ask. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, man. Well, that's about all I got for you. I appreciate you coming on the show and talking. I don't want to take too much of your time.
Guys, appreciate you, bro.
All right, so that was our conversation with Mikey Williams. Obviously a kid in only 15 years, gone through a lot of different things and really just blown up. So there obviously are more guys and girls like him, and this is only getting crazier as we go. But it was really cool to just sit down and chat with him and see, what it is like to be that age with a million followers and with a personal brand that who knows where that's going to lead him, and super excited to follow along. And with that being all wrapped up, we're going to move on to our final segment, and that is Fan Love, which, if you guys remember from last week, is our connection from me to you guys out there. And like I said, you can reach out and ask me any question that you have for me about pretty much anything through all of my social media, my personal stuff. Just DM me a question. You're less likely for that to get seen as if you would just send it in to askjordan@itsovertime.com. Again, that's askjordan@itsovertime.com. Go ahead and type that in and send out whatever questions you guys have. We want to hear from you, try to help you out in any way that we can. And I think that's just kind of a cool concept of keeping lines of communication wide open. For this week, we have 3 questions. The first being, hey, Jordan, my team lost in a championship game in our tournament last weekend. I play AAU. I had a couple turnovers down the stretch. Do you have any memories of tough losses that you felt responsible for, and how did you bounce back afterwards? My best, Jeffrey. Well, for that, as a point guard, you feel like every loss is your fault. There's this weird complex that in any point guard's mind, you take full responsibility for losses and you divert all responsibility for wins, because, if you hear any, great quarterback, great point guard, I generally reference those two because I don't know much about any other sport to kind of touch on it. But the leaders in that position are guys who take complete blame for anything that goes wrong, and they generally shed praise towards everybody else on their team. So that's the biggest thing, is even if, you do everything right and you end up losing the game, I think that's part of the culture nowadays, is to worry about what my individual stat line looks like and less about what the end result was. So if you're winning, that's all that matters. If you're losing, don't worry. I shouldn't say don't worry, you're always going to feel responsible for losses, but it's this weird thing that you do have to get kind of a grasp on, is that losses are going to be something that happens, but you need to be able to not look inward towards yourself, because in a way that's a selfish thing to do. And that's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but, look at the big picture and then try to move on from that. But yeah, like I said, wins aren't your responsibility as a leader. And you try to act like and put all that praise towards everybody else, and losses you take full responsibility for. That's just kind of the nature of it, Jeff. Question number 2, who's the best player you've ever played against, and how'd you do? Best player I've ever played against. Well, my high school team had to literally send 4 5'10" kids from Wisconsin right at Henry Ellington. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He played at Marquette. He's about 6'10", stockier build, but can shoot the lights out of the ball. And we had to play him in it was a high school Christmas tournament. We ended up beating him, but we literally guarded him with 4 other people because he went to a school of like 300 people, and we just took our chances on letting the other 4 or 3 people who are wide open shoot the ball, and then everybody just kind of tackle Henry. So make sure he doesn't get the ball. Yeah, Henry was unreal, especially at that time in high school. He was just an absolute problem. I always reference that game, one of the best players I've ever played against. I've played against a lot of guys that are in the league now. Obviously, one of my best friends, Tyler Hero, who you guys probably know is playing for the Heat. One of the most skilled guys you'll ever come across. I would say I've played one-on-one against him, and for me, biased answer, Ty is definitely in that conversation. Last question here. Oh, we did talk about this. I was just reading it on Twitter. Taco Fall just signed a 2-way deal with the Celtics. He'll split time between Boston and the G League. Do you think he'll be able to compete in the league? Taco's 7 foot, like 14 inches. He'll be able to compete in the league, and that's an easy answer for me on that one. I think he will do well. At that height, though, I don't know. I'm no doctor, but I don't think it's healthy. Is it healthy to be like over 7 feet? It'd be weird if we had a 7-footer in here to answer.
It's completely healthy.
Are you over 7 foot?
Yeah. Once you're 7 foot, you're over 7 foot.
No. Like the NBA is doing, like you got to take your shoes off. You got to take your shoes off.
Shoes off, I might be 6'11".
Oh, see, here we go. Here they come. It's shaky. Yeah, what? Yeah, that would suck to be 6'11" with your shoes off. Loser. That is a wrap on episode 2. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Hope to see you all back here next week as we continue to put out the greatest content on the internet. It's fair? Fair, thanks. Good. All right. Thank you guys very much. And like I said, send in any questions you have so we can continue our fan love segments at the end. And I can get to know more of you guys on a more consistent basis. Because this is a community, this is a place that we want to, have people feel comfortable and come somewhere to not only learn a few things and be entertained, but also get somewhat motivated. Because at the end of each show, I do like to just throw out something. Last week, it was about, instantaneous gratification. Instant gratification. With Jocko and his little blurb about that. Delayed gratification is what you want to that's what you want, right? Delayed gratification. You're putting off all those small things, right, for long-term goals, which is tough because you do hear, and for this week, we're going to talk a little bit about macro versus micro, macro being your whole life, micro being the daily thing. So you have to realize that people set these macro goals and then don't have a plan on a daily basis in the micro perspective of how they're going to attain them. And then they just sit there their whole life saying, well, I have this goal written down, but I don't have this daily plan. And, we talked about that with Mikey. You do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's all headed towards this one very focused, localized goal that you have. That's the only way to attain it. This stuff isn't going to come from inconsistency. Yeah, you're going to have good days and bad days, good workouts, bad workouts, good games and bad games, whatever it may be. And it doesn't have to be in sports even. But you have to realize that once you set your macro goal, the most important thing is do more stuff on the micro level, your daily basis. Set up your day where you're not wasting as much time as other people around you, because I don't know why people aren't understanding that you continue to do what everybody else is doing around you, and you're going to end up like everybody else around you. So that's my little blurb. Go do stuff this week. Just go do it, whatever it may be. Stop telling yourself that you got all these. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. Insert right here. Do it! Hopefully the editing team can knock that one out of the park. But no, seriously, just get up and go do it. Whatever the idea is you have in your mind. We live in a world where we have access to a lot more than I think we give credit towards. So go find people like Alex King, set up a podcast. I don't care what you got to do. Yeah, do something nice for somebody too. That's always a good thing to do. I'm rambling. My mom would love all that stuff at the end. She's going to call me maybe crying, hopefully. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week. I'm out.
Larry, what's the verdict?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I loved it!
10 out of 10!
10 out of 10. If you wanna check out the rest of the videos that are 10 out of 10, they're right here for you.
And you gotta subscribe because we got all this heat for you.
Hey, don't play with me. Chop, chop.